Okay, guys, welcome to Dave's LFC Chats, and I have my good mate Keto is back with me to have a little chat about the Reds, and it's always nice to have a little beer and talk about the Reds, isn't it, Keith?
I'm having a nice glass of vino from a vintage vino glass this evening.
That's the only way to do it, baby. We can't go to the pub, so the pub has to come to us. But
nice. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, yeah. Well, cheers for the rest of the season. We're in a little bit of a situation at the moment. It's an unusual situation, to be honest, Keith. I mean, ever since Klopp took over in October 15, we haven't been in many situations like this. Early on, we were a few sticky situations, but in a bit of a rough. I still believe in this team and Klopp, of course, but the cup game the weekend, I think, could work for us in a way. I think it could be an opportunity. Even though he doesn't rate the cup, and we know he doesn't rate it, a lot of us don't rate it. I think it's a possibility if he goes strong that, a little bit of a, might give us a kick up the arse, might give us a result that gets us going. Won't be easy at Old Trafford, of course. But what do you think of the situation, the overall situation at Liverpool right now?
I suppose, listen, trying to take all the emotion out of how we've played over the last 4 weeks and the results that have happened over the last 4 weeks, but I'm going back to when we won the league last year and the lead up to winning the league when we were so far ahead, and it was almost a fait accompli. And I remember the two-legged matches against Atletico, and we weren't at it as a striking force, right? And if you look at all the games since that, we've kind of gone from being absolutely sublime through to, just about getting across the line to bizarre results. Yeah. And last night was a bizarre result. Aston Villa was a bizarre result. So, listen, you cannot take anything away from that side in terms of what they've given us as supporters over the last 3.5 years. But I think once all of that weight has kind of come off and they've got to where they wanted to go, and with everything else that's come into play in terms of fans, actually winning the league, the injuries we've had this year, it's almost like a perfect storm in terms of, and it almost feels like there's a reset required in terms of, there's a period of time where the lads have to kind of just take a step back and kind of go, right, we need to go back to the foundations of the side in terms of all the things that they did right. And it's difficult to do that when the games are coming thick and fast, and it's difficult to do that when you've had very little rotation, and it's difficult to do that when you've got so much out of those players over the last 3 years. Yeah. They need a break. In other words, we need to give them a break, right? We need to give them a break. Like when you look what happened last night, like everybody went bananas and Twitter went fucking meltdown. But like ultimately, it should be something that is heralded and applauded as an achievement. It came to an end, but it was a magnificent achievement to go as long as it did, and that's what it is. But it doesn't get away from the fact then that there is some stuff that needs to take place, and there's a reset that needs to take place, and the lads need to get back to maybe some of the fundamentals, and it's difficult to do that with the games coming thick and fast, with the injuries, with the rotations, and with the tinkering. So I think we just need to kind of broadly accept where we are now at the moment. Okay, try and see what we can get from the season. Absolutely top 4, maybe a run at a cup, and see if we can get some players back. I don't think we're done for as a side by any means, but it takes time to build back up to where they were, and it takes effort, it takes time, it also takes fitness, it takes lots of different things to be able to do that. And I don't think the side is ready to almost do that. So I still foresee a few results like last night, 0-0 and whatever else coming down over the next couple of weeks. We're not going to fix this overnight. It's as simple as that. It's not going to be fixed overnight, No,
exactly. You've actually taken a few points that I was just about to say, because you look at the intensity of the 2 seasons, the Champions League winning season and last season when we won the league for the first time in 2 years. You had a 98-point season, which was a record for Liverpool. And we didn't even win the league. That the intensity of that season, Keith, was just, I was getting tired of the energy of that whole season. And then to win a Champions League on top of that could have easily been a double season. Easily. Most seasons it would have been. 98 points, it would have won it. And then last year, I actually was afraid when we got 98 points and didn't win it. I was saying, geez, will we ever win it? Because, like, you know, this City team were so good. And then to come out the following season and get 99 points.
Yeah.
I mean, those 2 seasons had to take it out of players. And then a pandemic comes a bloody long halfway through last season. And as you said rightly, they weren't right. They weren't right even in that Atletico game. Even though we played them off the park at Anfield, to be fair now. We actually played them off the park. We only beat them 1-0. We needed to beat them 2-0. Couldn't quite get the goal. They caught us in the second half. Adrian and goal and stuff. But when we came back, and I watched one of the games in your house back in when we won the league, even the City game, they pissed on the City.
Yeah.
Arsenal beat us. Remember, 2-1 after we 1-0 up. We weren't right even then. There were signs there. Oh, okay, in the pandemic, but I think they were bloody drained. I think they were drained over those 2 seasons.
It's difficult winning leagues, you know, back to back. It's extremely difficult. That's why it's rarely done. So you do that off the back of what the lads have put in over the last 2 years. You then throw in the injuries. You then throw in the little bit of bad luck, and we've had a huge amount of bad luck. It does almost, well, not just VAR, but you know, just. Like you look at Origi last night, 9 times out of 10 he probably finishes that. So there's a huge amount of stuff going on there. You know, there's nothing. There's very little going for the side at the moment. Very little going for them across the pitch. You know, even when we try and refresh this year, so you bring in a marquee signing. You know, 2 games in, he's injured for half the season. Same thing with Jota, Tsimikas, whatever. He's injured as well. You know, and then you've got the injury to Alisson at the start of the season. Henderson being injured. Matic, Gomez. There's nothing there that's going to help you. Yeah. Well, listen, they're all excuses. Doesn't kind of get away. We should be good enough to beat, you know, West Brom, Burnley with that side out, and it hasn't happened, right?
Yeah. Even that team last night, Keith. I looked at it. It was an oddball team, but that should be good enough to beat Burnley at Anfield. That team should be 9 times out of 10 good enough to beat Burnley. There's no excuses. Certainly not get beat. You know, certainly not get beat. Whatever about getting a draw the way we are now at the moment, but certainly not be beaten. You know, and to lose our record in that manner. But listen, we are living in strange times. You know, and I do think it's just a matter of listen. You almost kind of say, well, you know what? The gods have been absolutely against us this year. You know, and they've been against us since we pretty much won the league last year. So. Yeah. It is what it is. Reset and go back to the basics in terms of what made us a very good side. We probably need to kind of take a few steps back to move forward again, you know. Yeah. And I do think there's a requirement for new personnel, you know. Well, in the summer, you mean? I'd say at this stage.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything done now within the next week or so.
So what do you think? I think God is a Manchester United fan, by the way.
Yeah.
But it is bad luck. I think you have bad luck. You have bad decisions. The bounce of the ball even can make a huge decision. VAR, injuries. Throw the injuries in. Throw that Everton game ruined 2 of our best players. Thiago was out for a few months, and of course VVD, who I think was one of the biggest losses, of course. I think Gomez, 2 or 3 weeks later, gets injured playing for England. I don't even think he was in training and he got injured with bad injury. I mean, you throw all that into a pot. You throw in a pandemic. You throw in 2 seasons of heavy metal, Metallica, World Tour football for like 98 points, Champions League final, 99 points, records, both of them records. Yeah. And then you throw in a pandemic, looking to go again. All that stuff on top, stir it around. Listen, we're still not out of it. We're not out of anything. But I'm just saying it's going to be really hard from the base we're at to really push on. But if anybody can do it, Keith, if anybody can do it, it's this club. And it's this manager and this group of players. I really do believe it. Listen, I probably won't win the league. I have City as favourites now, even before the Burnley game. But if we can put a good run together, maybe even get a good run in the Champions League, possibly even beat United on Sunday, which would be a start. But we need to get a goal from somewhere, and a performance is more important from somewhere. Even maybe the weekend against. What do you think the weekend now? As you know, the FA Cup. I don't really care about it. I'm sure you don't. It's lost all its luster since the Arsenal game when we beat Arsenal 2-1, the game I missed half of. But since then, I mean, it has lost since the Champions League and the Premier League came in, hasn't it? It's not the same. It's not. No way.
And most seasons, I would say that when you're going for a league and going for a Champions League, I would say that one thing City do every year is they pretty much pick up a trophy every year. no matter
Cup,
if
even the
FA
League
Cup.
Cup. Yeah.
And an FA Cup typically. Sometimes they're winning both cups. So that winning mentality, I think, is a good thing to foster and a good thing to keep going. So if it looks like we're chasing for top four, I think we probably need to keep one eye on the cup. And the reason we probably maybe do that is just to have that, just to keep that winning mentality going. So stay in it for as long as we can. We play Sunday, 5 o'clock. We've then got pretty much 4 days off before we play Spurs Thursday evening.
Away, yeah.
Listen.
What do you think, though? Do you think he goes strong? I think he has to go strong. Has to go strong at Old Trafford, or you get beaten.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about, it's all about continuity, and it's all about confidence, Keith. If they go there to Old Trafford and play a young, mixy team and get hammered 3 or 4-0, you're going into the Spurs game on a hide to bleed nothing. You know what I mean? I think he goes strong on Sunday for the first time in the FA Cup in a long time.
But I think that the selection, last night might have given you a bit of an indication in terms of he's probably going to start certainly with the front, our normal front three, unless he does a bit of a madness again, and he could do a bit of a madness again. But I think he might have had one eye on this.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he might have had one eye on it, to be honest with you. And he could very well start the front three, as he would normally, and then do a bit of rotation in midfield. He's probably not going to give Shaqiri and Ox another run at that match, I don't think. So it's a matter of just mixing around the midfield. But I think he'll go strong up front. I really do think he'll go strong up front.
Yeah, I think he'll be the front three. There's no doubt about it. He'll be the front three. And the thing about it is, even Trent, I don't know whether he got a lot of stick today on Twitter. I would be on Twitter a lot, but sometimes it's a complete cesspit of fucking shite.
It's not really reflective, to be honest with you. It's not reflective of how people normally rationally think about the team. Listen, he's not been on it since pretty much the start of the season, to be honest with you. And for whatever reason, he didn't have a pre-season. He didn't have a decent pre-season due to injury and COVID, apparently. So he's not been on it. He's not been on it. His confidence is certainly shook, you know. And sometimes with the younger lads, you just have to keep putting them in and keep putting them in and keep putting them in, and until it turns, you know.
As you say, it could turn on Sunday. You know,
I just couldn't understand why we continuously went down the right hand side last night. Continuously attacked the right hand side. We weren't beating the first man. We weren't getting past the first man. We looked like we had a lot more joy down the left hand side when we went down the left hand side. And we must have gone 75% of our attacking play came down the right hand side.
I think in 26 crosses or something, Trent. He had a chance to get the ball in 26 times. And I don't think any of them were meeting a man, like, you know, that way. I mean, it's unusual. It really is. He's
still he's had a phenomenal rise to where he is now at the moment.
He's only a kid, for fuck's sake. I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely not.
He's going through a bit of a rough time, but I think that's where, especially the fans on Twitter and fans who aren't real fans, as far as I'm concerned, but should be getting behind the team now. This is where you get behind it. This is where you really support the team. It's not really supporting them when they're lifting bleeding trophies. Anybody can do that. It's supporting them when they're losing and drawing and they're in a bit of a doldrums. That's where you're a real fan shows his true colours.
Yeah. Like, we can all be very hot-headed in the middle of the match, and we can all tweet shit, and we can all, you know, even when we're going back and forth, you know, on WhatsApp or whatever, you can probably say things in the heat of the moment. But what I can't understand is that once you've had a chance to sleep on it overnight, wake up the following morning in the cold kind of light of day, and having considered the game and tried to be rational, how you're still having a pop of players and still having a pop of Klopp out and FSG out and all this kind of bullshit. So that's Twitter. It's not reflective of the true fan base.
We have been spoiled rotten the last 3 years, really. Even that year we got beaten in the final against Madrid to get to a Champions League final. And we finished top four that season. We had a great season that year. We'd lost a few cup finals, Europa League Cup against Sevilla and the League Cup against City on penalties. We were unlucky actually in that game. And everyone was saying Klopp's not going to win that. And then he broke the ceiling. Club World Cup, Super Cup. Dreamland we've been in for 2 or 3 years. And everybody's been envious of us. This team's allowed some sort of a bloody dip. I don't think they're disappearing overnight. Yeah. This team will go again. You look at City last year, right? They looked like they were a team in decline. Yeah, and everyone's writing the obituaries of City, and that's it now. You know, he's going to have to rebuild a team and do all this kind of stuff. Now look at them this year. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you just need that reset. You know, the lads just need to reset. You're almost not writing off the league, and no one's just going to write off the league until you know, mathematically you can't win the league. But at some point in time,
we can't just keep tinkering the team to try and get a result. You almost kind of say we need to go back to basics now in terms of where we were as a team and then start building again.
Yeah.
So, and it feels a little bit like that to me. That's what they need to do, you know. We don't seem to be able to change it. It's 4 games now. 4 games against opposition that we should have been able to turn it around, and we haven't been able to turn it around.
Yeah.
Maybe we leave it till the Spurs match, you know, where we play against a side who are going to come out a little bit and play against us, or West Ham.
United will come at us. United will come at us on Sunday.
Yeah, they will.
That would suit us, though. As you say, those games, all the games coming up are tough games.
Yeah.
A lot away from home. They won't sit back. Even West Ham are a good side going forward.
Sometimes cup games that were they're almost played out themselves. They're a cup game. They're a once-off game, and are they really indicative of what might happen? I'd be more looking towards what happens in the Spurs game to see, is it the low block? Is it the fact that we can't get around that? If a team comes out and plays a bit of football and has a little bit more possession, are we more clinical? Do we have more space? That's probably going to be the test for me.
But another thing which is more worrying, if it's true, is our teams catching on to us. I mean, our teams, if you block the fullbacks, if you're blocking Robbo and Trent, which most of our attacks come from, as you said already, if you can stop Trent and Robbo, you stop a lot of Liverpool. You stop an awful lot.
Yeah. But what happened last season is that we mixed it up a lot better. So teams were playing low block against us last year. They haven't, come up with a new system of low block, but we were mixing it up a lot better. So we had, Van Dijk putting the ball in early over the top, and maybe teams have cottoned onto that, to be honest with you. And we probably brought in Thiago to maybe play that a little bit more further forward with our standard to try and give us a new dynamic going forward. Absolutely, teams look at us. We're the champions. We're up there in the pedestal. They're going to study what we do. They're going to try and replicate what we do, but they're also going to come up with strategies to stop us. Yeah. And, that's certainly the case now at the moment. I don't think we've been mixing up enough. But you look at last night, Origi's chance, Firmino's chance, Salah's chance. There was enough chances in that game last night to win it, and to win it easily. And we're not taking them. So irrespective of whether or not teams have come up against a formula, we're creating enough chances each game, good chances, to win games, and we're not putting them away. So that's a personnel thing as opposed to a system thing in my head, to be honest with you. And
it is. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, you look at Liverpool, they start off nice, passing around, look confident, a few little chances. But I think the longer the game goes 0-0 with Liverpool, it seems to drain out of them. Like if it gets to 0-0 at half time, you're nearly worried second half. That way. Just in the last few games, of course.
Yeah.
And so we just switch for the last minute or two. Sunday, I think you might go strong for that game. It's who we're playing against. It's our biggest fan rivals anyways,
Yeah.
We don't want to lose it. I don't care about the FA Cup, but I don't want to lose a game of tiddlywinks to United. Never mind a football match. So I think he might go strong against United. I don't know what Solskjaer will do because they're actually in a very good run. And they've a lot of games, and he's played more or less the same team, all the time. So he might rest one or two. I don't know.
Their squad is decent because there's nobody injured, so they can rotate at the centre halves, they can rotate in midfield, and they can rotate up front. He's probably doing a very good job at the moment in terms of the rotation to give everybody a little bit of a look in. He can probably still go relatively strong. They've got a match against Sheffield United, and after that happens.
Yeah.
So I would expect them to go somewhat strong as well.
Because it's Liverpool, I think.
Yeah.
Same boat as us. They don't want to lose to Liverpool at home, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to go. What do you think? What's your result? What do you think will happen on Sunday? Do you think we win or draw? A draw, it's extra time penalties, no replays.
No replays. I'll go for some penalties.
To win on penalties? Yeah, I was thinking I'd love to win in full time, of course, or normal time, but
you'd love to win a penalty shoot.
I don't care once we win, to be honest. Even though I don't care about the FA Cup, I'd like a performance and a few goals even if it was a 3-3 and you lost. Be nice
to win a penalty shoot out at Old Trafford, wouldn't it?
Oh, fucking
those kind of opportunities don't come along.
Oh, fucking right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I think we'll leave it there. I mean, we're going to be on an awful lot because, as you say, we play again midweek. Spurs away is going to be another bloody tough one.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the analysis of the cup game as well, of course.
Yeah.
But right, we go with that. Liverpool to beat United on Sunday.
Penalties. On penalties.
I'm sure the boys will love that. Anyway, thanks very much for coming on.
Talk to you soon, mate. All right, take care.
Stay safe, buddy.
Bye.
Cheers.